Hey everybody, welcome to this video. So this one is specifically for brands that are established doing less than $10,000 per month e-commerce brands and have ambitions to grow to 30K a month and beyond that point. But really those people who are solo operators or might have a partnership, and that's the majority of the people that I've helped over the last couple of years. We've helped over 200 in the last couple of years hit record revenue months with their e-commerce business. And those people that do come in and we support with information like I'm going to share with you today in this training, just genuinely get that support and have someone looking over their shoulder and able to bounce ideas and feedback off of, which pays huge dividends in the entrepreneurial world. We're often isolated in our own heads and ideas whilst we have access to the world. It's very difficult to feel included and know what you're doing, right? There's a lot of FOMO out there. There's a lot of shiny object syndrome. So staying on the straight and narrow is huge for people succeeding that we witness in our program. Now, these programs that I created, the Ecom Blueprint is one of them, and then the Up-Level Mastermind for more advanced e-com entrepreneurs, stems off the back of my experience in e-commerce. 13 years. I started in 2013 with my brother. From the kitchen bench, we left our corporate jobs. I was in valuations, in property valuations, and my brother was in corporate finance. And we wanted to try something different, try our hand at e-commerce. So we basically started it from the kitchen bench. We left our jobs, bootstrapped the entire way thing through, and that business now does multiple seven figures per year. So that's when I started to help other e-commerce entrepreneurs just a couple of years ago with their journey as well. So what I want to talk through today is something really important for those, especially under that 10, 20K per month. You know, it's a sliding scale depending on your particular circumstance, but it's about hiring help. Okay, it's about when is the right time and really advising you that you shouldn't hire people too early. Now, I'm specifically talking about revenue generating activities. Okay, it might be outsourcing to an agency or a contractor, or just trying to get something off of your plate that you may not like to do, you may not think you're good at, or sometimes you just don't, have the cash flow to do it. But certainly time should never be an objective here, all right? So I want to basically forewarn you based on my own experience, but obviously witnessing and observing many others in the circumstances as well, why we shouldn't be outsourcing too early, okay? So the first thing, the obvious thing, is cash conservation. So if I'm going to outsource my Meta ads, Google ads, might be my email marketing, there's various services that you can do that are revenue generating, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Okay, and the way that people or agencies or contractors will justify it is you pay me this and you're gonna get this out. Sometimes they don't even basically say that, but their fees can be anywhere on the low end, $1,000 a month, all the way up to honestly tens of thousands of dollars a month, depending on the size of the organization. And typically, in my experience, they'll change the price for basically every single person that they speak to based on their size and capabilities. All right, so it's gonna cost you money at the end of the day. It's gonna be a fixed cost where there's going to be no results guaranteed. Sometimes there's agencies and contractors that have results guaranteed, but nonetheless, it's going to cost you money that you may not have or may be so hell-bent on getting a return on that it becomes too risky to forego that initial fee, but then also the ad spend behind it. So it's a costly exercise. And also, which can and cannot be true sometimes. These agencies and people are going to tell you it's like, okay, you got to sign on for a minimum of 3 months, 90 days. Oh, and by the way, it might take 60 or 90 days for the algorithm to click into gear and start to see some results, right? As I say, sometimes true, sometimes not true, but in my experience, again, it's a costly exercise. So you don't invest in outside help before you can afford to part with that money. What I'd say, lose that money. And this is advice that we say to people who are starting their own ads anyway. Right? We don't put money into an algorithm or put money into a platform that we can't afford to lose that money. Okay, it's only an exercise to test it. And then once we get the wheels turning, then we can start to bank on getting money from it. But that's the same way that people will do this from an agency perspective. It's just that you're not in charge and you're paying an exorbitant fee most of the time. So it's a costly exercise. You may or may not have it, but don't basically think it's not going to cost you more than what you initially thought. Okay, so first thing is cost, why we don't outsource too early. The second thing is the skills. Okay, if you're outsourcing to somebody that's responsible for driving sales and revenue for you, such as ads, then you're not learning the skills yourself. So you're purely reliant on them to do it for you. Okay, what if they go out of business? What if they stop doing it? What if they prioritize other people ahead of you? Happens all the time, right? Then you don't have the leverage or the power to take that charge and know what's actually going on, right? So the second part of the skills, firstly, we need to adopt all the skills necessary to drive our business to its success. We must take full responsibility as business owners to understand everything, whether we think we're skilled in it or are interested in it or like it or not, doesn't matter. No one is going to care about your business. No one is going to have the understanding of your business more than you. So you must learn the skills. You must become full stack. The secondary thing here is when you do eventually outsource it, and I'm not against outsourcing by any means, right? But only when we have these things that I'm talking about. First one, cash. Second one, skills. You can actually see exactly what they're doing, okay? So something I just want to forewarn you about. When you do join an agency or, as I say, sometimes a contractor, you'll speak with someone who's very proficient, either very good at selling the process or even the owners themselves. But it's very unlikely that that person who you speak with, who you have full trust in, is actually the one going to be managing your account. Okay, they might be highly skilled. They might have 10, 12, 15 years experience in running ads, but they're going to hand it over to someone if their business is building to someone more junior to them. And sometimes I've seen this in my experience. I've had the experience myself. These people could be like fresh out of university. Honestly, like they've had very little experience. They've never run businesses themselves. They just get these standard operating procedures and these plug and play cookie cutter templates that every other brand is using, or maybe they've got this for health and wellness and they've got this for beauty and they've got this for, sports. So you're not going to get the skills that you had signed up for initially. That's a very big risk that you take, okay? And again, you can't be naive to the fact that this happens, right? But more importantly, you need to understand and have the skills yourself so that when you do go and outsource that, you can see exactly what they're doing and you can have real, on the same level conversations with them, even superior conversations with them where you're saying, well, this is what's worked well for me. Why aren't we doing this? Or why have you done this like this? Why have you done like this? So it becomes an accountability tool, because the position that you want to be in when you hire people is a position of leverage and power, right? I basically achieve these results, therefore you should be able to achieve these because you are the expert. And so that feeds into the part 3 of this conversation is baselines. If you have done everything yourself in the beginning, if you got it to a certain standard, you then have baselines that you can work from. You've got the cash flow, you've got the skills, and you've got the baselines. Okay, so me as a novice, Facebook ad marketer, I can achieve 3 times return on our ad spend, all right? A cost per purchase of $30, for example, for my product. Now that's leveraging information that you can go to this agency or contractor and say, this is what I was able to achieve on my own by myself in my limited time. And yeah, to be fair, in my limited skill sets. So how are you going to better that? Again, leverage and a position of power. So then again, that becomes accountability. If they promise that they can do it better, great, let's see what you got. Put in the contractual arrangement. They will do that. Otherwise you'll get your money back, because why would you outsource otherwise if they can't beat your performance? And the second thing is that they should be able to beat it because of the time allocation that they say they're doing, the expertise that they say they have, the experience that they say they've accumulated, the number of accounts that they're managing. So they've got combined experience, right? And knowledge about what's working and what's not. That is the accountability that you can give to them when you've got your baseline. Because we're happy as Larry if they can beat them, instead of getting 3x, they're getting 5 and 6x. Like, why wouldn't we continue on? That's a good, profitable relationship to be in, that you're getting the return on your investment and they're doing exactly what they said. But without doing it yourself, without gaining the skills and knowledge and experience, which hurts in the beginning because it's learning new skills, you won't have those baselines, so you'll always be in a position of weakness. Now, what typically happens is if people don't have a good experience, they're not getting their return on the investment, they don't know what's going on within these disciplines, they'll then leave that agency because they were a dud agency. They'll go to the next one. Same thing happens. They get sold the dream, they get promises made and get disappointed. Oh, leave them for 3 months, move on to the next one. And they skip. And they expect people to deliver different results when they're working with the same tools that the previous one has actually worked with, right? So if someone's working with the same tools that you gave the last agency, they're not going to get any different results. There's honestly no magic weapon or secret sauce, even if people say that that's the case, that people are working with. It's the tools, it's the inputs that you have. The input being your business, your proposition, your product, your pricing, your foundations and fundamentals. And this is, again, coming back to a training earlier around we need to have our foundations solid before we even do any marketing. They're only working with the tools that they've got. And so I would say you have to take full responsibility for whatever happens with your business, for better performance. They're not trying to be bad agencies or get bad performance. Trust me on that. okay? They're working with the tools they've got. So it's our responsibility and we must take it by coming back to the drawing board and learning it ourselves and gaining the skills to get those baselines. And the fourth point I kind of want to make here is you really just have to be a being that is what I call becoming. Okay, this is something I talk about in my paid communities a lot. It's like, we don't ever want to box ourselves into, I am this person, I am not this person. I am a marketing person, I'm not a marketing person. I don't do ads, I don't do tech, I don't do accounts. It's like, what do you do? Okay, we have the ability as human beings to become that person that is diligent with tech, that is understanding of tech. And how do you think that comes about? How do we start to talk and walk as human beings? We practice, we put in literal reps. So how is learning a skill any different? It's actually not. Again, I can tell you this from experience. Every new skill I've learned has come from just hours of repetition, actual willingness and dedication to figure it out. So this is what you need to do when you're figuring out ads or something that you're wanting to outsource because it's not your level of expertise. Of course it's not. Everything in business is new. In fact, when you started your business, that was completely new, but you figured it out. You figured out how to contact a supplier, how to do some basic marketing. You figured all that stuff out, so you can figure out this as well. And so what obviously really helps is getting some support with it, meaning to learn it, like teach a person to fish versus give them a fish. So that's obviously what we do within our paid community as well. Our Ecom Blueprint program is help people to be self-sufficient, okay? You can obviously learn from YouTube universities and other people and stuff like that, but being in it, in the game, right, in the arena, and spending the money and learning the skills and learning based off feedback and data is the best and fastest way to do this. But don't think it's not possible is basically what I'm saying. You must have the belief and the dedication and commitment to push through the challenges of I'm not good at this or I'm this type of person. And sort of like I said before, the real advantage that you have by doing so is that no one will care about your business the way that you do. No one will understand your target demographic the way that you do, right? That's your advantage. That's why you will probably be the best at performing these functions that we're talking about rather than outsourcing it or having the temptation to do so. And so I would always encourage people to do it first for those three reasons. One is that it's going to cost you way less. The second one is to build the skills. The third one is the baselines that we can use as leverage and expectations when we do eventually go and outsource. And really the only reason that you should go and outsource then is time. Okay, you've got this, you know it works, you know how to do it, it will succeed. I just need someone to go and do it for me. And then at the end of the day, basically once we've learnt these things and we've got experience with it, again, like something you can think about something right now within your business, oh, that's easy for me now, that was once hard. That's how ads becomes as well. It becomes easy. It becomes like, I don't need to manage that every day. I don't need to be obsessing over it every single day. Obviously to a point when you've got some success rolling in and some sales rolling in, of course. But when it is up and going, it's the same thing. And I can promise you that agency is doing the same thing. No, we're just got to give it another week. We're going to give it another 2 weeks. Right? We don't need to change anything. Yeah, sure, we can increase the budget, but let's leave it for a month. Like that's the sort of conversations that you'll probably have with agencies that you should be having really with yourself, or again, in a community of people that support you to learn the skills and gain your expertise and establish those baselines for your business. So look, I really hope that was helpful. I wanted to go through what I've been through personally, but also with dozens of clients within our program as well. So look, if you want to know more about how we help our e-commerce brands hit record revenue months, especially between that 10 and 30 to 50K per month, there's a link below. You can check that out and see if it might be right for you. But then again, thanks so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope you got value. If you did, give it a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll be producing content like this all the time. So other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.